form of a prepared statement. So hopefully the professionalism of that will offset the disgustingness of the story. So okay, here we go. We've all had to unclog toilets before. Uh-oh, a little too much toilet paper. Plunge, plunge, good as new. An innocent enough process, until it isn't. A few weeks ago, I had a toilet disaster so terrible that I can only describe it as the biggest challenge I've ever faced. And I'm transgender. I'm in my apartment alone. My partner is visiting his family for spring break. I'm looking forward to having some time to myself to do things I just can't do when he's there. Like having a girls' night, just me and my gal pals, binging Sex in the City, and of course, having sex with other men. Just kidding, I replaced my desire for sex with ruthless corporate ambition years ago. Ladies, who's with me? Yeah! In all seriousness, what I actually like to do when I'm alone in my house is, and I don't relish saying this because frankly it's private, is shitting with the door open. Yeah, they get it. There's something about being on the toilet when you know no one can hear you, no one in the world knows what you're doing, that allows a certain freedom. We've all been in a public restroom before, innocently peeing, when all of a sudden, from a few stalls down, we hear a shameful, inadequately concealed plop. Wow, embarrassing. If it were me, I would have coughed, or at least started humming the latest Hot 100 hit as my plop occurred, as to conceal its ungainly splash. This is mercifully not necessary when one is alone. And so I readied myself for my session in the bathroom, making sure my phone was at full battery. I sat down and again, not to be crass, began my dumpy. I felt more free with each natural expulsion after I finished. I decided to flush the toilet once before I put any toilet paper in there because I figured asking more of that toilet at that point was simply not fair. One flush was all it took. The toilet water began to rise up, and within an instant the toilet began overflowing from all sides, spraying out like a fountain. I screamed and grabbed the plunger, which was no match for the shit waterfall coming from the toilet. I grabbed as many bowls as I could to try to catch the water. They all filled up, and one fell down with the force of the exploding water. I was hysterical, and the bathroom floor now, within a mere matter of seconds, was covered in shit and water. I called my partner, I called my mom. I called a 24-hour emergency plumber immediately and told him I've never seen anything like this before in my life. Suddenly a knock at the door. Well, that was quick. I open it up, pantsless and panicked, and it's my downstairs neighbor. He wasted no time in telling me his ceiling was leaking wet shit. I said, I'm so sorry, this was always meant to be my private time. I turn around to find the water has quickly infiltrated the hallway. A few moments later, another knock at the door. Oh, thank God he's here. I open it up, and it's the neighbor downstairs from the neighbor who I just met. She goes, we're starting to get it too. In trying to enjoy my time on the toilet as discreetly as I could, I ended up causing an apartment-wide panic so bad that my building shut off the water. In trying to enjoy my time on the toilet as discreetly as I could, my shit ended up having consequences so bad I had to ask myself, do I have renter's insurance? The contaminated water filled the bathroom with a stench that can only be described as Katrina. It could be an interesting metaphor. You can take the trans woman out of the men's bathroom, but the men's bathroom will come back to haunt her. It's like I was Rose in the Titanic in that one scene when she's wading through the water trying to find Jack, except instead of the ship hitting an iceberg, it hit poop. The water was now off and the fallout was immense. 2 hours later, the plumber arrives. He unclogs the toilet with a snake drain in 5 minutes and charges me $275, which I didn't know was a scam until after he left. I looked around at the damage. My partner wouldn't be back for a few days. It was the middle of the night. I thought it's impossible to do this on my own, but someone's got to. So I went to bed and prayed. After, of course, finally wiping. But then I got up the next morning and I knew what I had to face. I had to face it. No one was coming to save me. I put on gloves, trash bags around my shoes, and Bachman-Turner overdrives taking care of business. And got to work. And a few times as I was wading through the water, as I was sacrificing towels, as I was picking up shit, I began to think to myself, is this how Paris felt on The Simple Life? So no one was there to help, boo-hoo. It's the kind of thing you can't not clean, no matter who you are, whether or not it's too much or you're not properly equipped. Shit toilet floods are like babies. They demand attention, and if you abandon it, society will be upset with you. But I began to find a certain power in that. I discovered that you can do everything wrong and be completely ill-prepared and still do it just because you have to. And then who's to say you weren't equipped in the first place? You don't have to be handy to fix things. You just have to be alone. I think I've told myself a story about myself that I'm helpless when it comes to certain things. And that has more effect on my thinking than it does on my actions. But I control my own narrative. I do. When I'm in the throes of disaster, it's like I have an angel and a devil on either side of my shoulder telling me different things. Except they're not an angel and a devil at all. They're Paris Hilton and a guy I call Sal. On one hand, I'm like, oh my God, I am living in a nightmare right now. This is literally the worst. And on the other shoulder, there's Sal. Hey, get up and do something about it. Suck it up, I work at the butcher shop on 5th, and you know what we always say there, put some elbow grease into it. Ultimately, I end up somewhere in the middle between Paris and Sal, which is even more confusing. Oh my God, I am living in a butcher shop on 5th. So those little voices don't end up being that helpful. I ended up cleaning and disinfecting every contaminated floorboard, every tarnished tile, painstaking as it was. And by the end of my cleaning frenzy, the floors were so spotless that I thought, maybe I didn't have to alert that many people of my shit disaster in the first place. Still, it didn't bring me peace of mind. How can I ever shit again without a tinge of anxiety? Every time I sit on the toilet now, am I doomed to thinking, is this the one I'm going to have to call people about? No, I refuse to accept that, because then the terrorists win. Using the facilities should be completely private, but sometimes it isn't. And ladies, I ask you, are we going to let every plop, every Mondo Duke, every confession to the plumber about what exactly happened shame us into silence? Into letting society think women only require a restroom to powder their nose and go pee while holding hands with a friend? No, I am no longer ashamed because I have seen the other side of shame. The pressure to be ladylike can no longer oppress a woman when she has been the sole cause of the single biggest plumbing disaster in her building in 10 years. I am free. If anything, I want you to come out of this with 3 lessons. A woman can always face something, even if she doesn't think she has the qualities to do so. And maybe she doesn't, but she just has to do something about it. And lesson number 2, feel no shame. And finally, lesson number 3, trans women should be allowed to use the bathroom of their choosing, except for maybe me. Thank you very much.
Got a few more stories. I was